Hey guys, what's up? Hope you're having a good day out there. My name is Don Diablo, and these are my 5 essential tracks.
Blue jeans and moonbeams.
Don't stop me now. I'm having such a
Really hurt me, baby. Really hurt me, baby.
which way is right, which way is wrong.
Don Diablo, welcome to 5 Essential Tracks.
Thank you.
First of all, when the request came to you to pick the 5 most important tracks of your life or the influences, was it a hard task to perform?
It's impossible, to be honest. You know, like, especially if you're a DJ, it's like, it's what you do. You select music. I know, like, even on my stick, when I travel and I do shows, I have roughly like 3,000 songs with me. Mm-hmm. Even though I'm only gonna play like 60.
What's the weirdest track that you ever pull out of your big USB hat?
I mean, this is my, you know, I guess it's Bon Jovi, Living on a Prayer. It's
Wow. Because the way that song starts is it's a real slow starter.
Yeah, it takes a long. Everyone's like, "What the fuck is going on?" And then 90 seconds later, everyone's like, "Whoa, yeah." And you just take the fader down, and the whole crowd is like, just singing like, "Yeah." Everybody's just having it, and you're like, you know,
I
it's
knew
Bon
this.
Jovi. It's funny how those records still sound better than a lot of the records that are getting released nowadays. It's still like Killing in the Name of, like Rage Against the Machine. It still sounds sonically amazing.
Yeah, still
and
fresh.
it's years and years and years old, and it's same like the Nirvana stuff.
Yeah, it
Incredible.
doesn't age, or it
Doesn't
aged very
age.
well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it still sounds classical, and that's where I draw a lot of inspiration from. Well, the first track for me is probably going to be a track by Captain Beefheart.
Mm-hmm.
I was actually named after him. His real name is Don Van Vliet. He's an American avant-garde musician, painter. My dad was an enormous fan because my dad actually got to name me. So it was like, cool, I'm gonna name him after my hero. And that was Captain Beefheart. There was a song, I mean, this is probably from the worst period of Captain Beefheart. There's one song on there, Bluejeans and MoonBeams. We played it at my dad's funeral. And it sums up my whole youth. There's so much emotion in there. There's so much, I don't know, it just really gives me goosebumps all over my body and brings me back to the day that, you know, my dad introduced me to music.
I've been working, I've been loving underneath the moonstone sky. I know there's many things I've never seen. Blue jeans and moonbeams, Mondays and moonbeams, blue jeans and moonbeams.
As an artist, you have periods that you go through. You obviously start out very pure. You're just making your music. You're like jamming out, and everybody loves what you do because nobody knows you. Yeah. Then as you become more popular, everybody starts hating you. And then there's the album where there's that pressure because people say, like, you know what, you're onto something. There might be a bigger audience for you out there, but you just have to change a few things left and right. Yeah. And you know, there was an album, Blue Jeans and Moonbeams, for the Captain, and that's kind of where he did that. He was reaching out. He had a band, the Magic Band, and that was a period, looking back at it afterwards, where they called that band the Tragic Band.
Oh wow!
Because they felt that the whole album was horrible. But for me, you know, like I think like artists like Kate Bush have said that that's one of the 10 classic best albums ever. That song is like it's my anthem. Track number 2, I guess like probably the first band that I got into when I grew up, that I started buying albums of, and an artist that inspired me was Freddie Mercury and the band Queen. I bought CDs and tapes when I was 9, 10, 11, and in retrospect I bought everything, and I watched the Live at Wembley VHS. I had that one, and it just blew my mind. I was like, wow, the things he did on that stage and the confidence that he walked on stage, and you know, he was just like a performer in every sense of the word. And that not just inspired me on a musical level, but also on a, you know, like when it comes to, I guess, to clothing, to accepting who you are, and just owning the stage. Yeah. And just doing stuff that went against the grid.
Stop me now. If you wanna have a good time, just give me a call. Stop me now. A good time. Stop yes, a good time. I don't wanna stop at all. Yeah. I'm a rocket ship on my way to Mars on a collision course. I am a satellite.
And the record "Don't Stop Me Now" was that I grew up. I was a total nerd. Still am a total nerd, and literally had like 0 friends. And I had at a certain point I got a computer, and that became my best friend because I figured out what can I get out of my computer, my best friend. So I started learning how to make music with my computer. And it was just one song I drove to school, you know, and I put on my Walkman. It was just "Don't Stop Me Now" because I'm having a good time. It just pushes you over the edge. You're like, you know what? Fuck you, world. You know, I'm worth something, and you know, one day I'll be cool too. And yeah, it was that song that gave you that victory feeling of like, you know what? Maybe when I grow up, I can become someone as well. And you know, you can go out there and grab it. And yeah, I don't know. That's how I feel when I, you know, I'm just Don Pepijn Schipper, just a random guy from a small village in Drenthe. And one day I was like Freddie Mercury, I'm going to invent a moniker. That's going to become Don Diablo, and he's going to put out an outfit, and he's going to walk on that stage and own it, just like Freddie did back in the days. To me, it's really always been about that. Like up until this day, I actually don't own a T-shirt. People are always like, "Why don't we ever see your arms?" And I'm like, "Would you ever see Freddie Mercury in a T-shirt?" You know, like I'm still struggling with myself every day, and I think music is what kind of gives me a purpose in life. But other than that, it's like every day for me, it's still a struggle to find a meaning, a reason, happiness. And, you know, it seems that I'm not drifting further away from it thanks to music. And, you know, the fact that I have now built such a fan base of people interacting, I'm giving them back so much. Yeah, that all comes from that one song of believing in the fact that even though nobody believes in you, you can still make something out of your life.
Thanks a lot, Freddie.
Thank you, Freddie.
Track number 3.
One of my favorite electronic records of all time is Massive Attack, Unfinished Sympathy.
Ooh, wow.
I think I was probably like 11 when that record came out.
Yeah.
But I just remember seeing it on TV and just the feels that came from it. And it was kind of my first introduction with electronic music.
Really hurt me, baby. Really hurt me, baby. How can you have a day without a night? You're the book that I have opened, and now I've got to know much more.
I have a lot of fans that are producers. They're always asking me like, how do you do this trick? And how do you, what sidechain are you using there? Or what compression do you advise? But forget about all that. It's really about the emotion that you put into a song. And that song, whenever I'm stressed, I listen to that song and it's like, it just pulls me into something, something magical. And it's to this day, I believe that's one of the best electronic records ever made. And I guess just the Massive Attack as a band as a whole has just been so inspiring, and the whole body of work is just, every song is incredible. And you know, even though if you go back to the most recent albums, they're incredible albums to put on while you're making love to your girlfriend as well.
We'll keep that in mind.
So yeah, it's true, because it's like it's very sexy. So number 4 is probably, and that again, it was a hard pick. But I wanted to pick a record from someone that really inspired me, that I work with. It's an artist called Clare. You know, Clare, Too Close.
And it feels like I am just too close to love you. There's nothing I can really say. I can lie no more.
I remember there was a time where I was really stuck musically, and I didn't know what to do, and I just started trying new things, and I ended up writing this song called Give It All, because this was right after my dad passed.
Mm-hmm.
So I felt I couldn't be releasing random club records because
No.
that wouldn't make sense. So I felt like I needed to do something that
A bit more introspective.
yeah,
maybe.
but still it was me and not like, not too depressing, I guess. So I wanted to make a record that was really about life and about how you have to make the most out of it. And that record ended up becoming Don Diablo featuring Alex, Clare, and Khalees. And it was interesting because that record was a year in the making. Maybe one of my favorite records that I ever made. But funny enough, then there was another record that came out that went on BBC Radio 1, and that had Alex Clare on it as well. So they said, we can't playlist it because there's already another record on the playlist. So about 2 years in the making, and it just ended in 1 week. It was all over. We didn't release it. And then in the end, it went online, but just silently. We didn't push it. But the video is still out there, and the song is still out there. And I think in retrospect, after maybe hearing this story, it's still cool to maybe check it out. And because I think, being an artist is all about the music that you release and that you put out, but that's just one song.
Yeah.
There's so much on my hard drive that maybe the songs that I'm most proud of. I think there's a record that I did with Ed Sheeran, for instance. That's probably my favorite song, one of my favorite songs that I ever did, but no one's ever going to hear it. I think the one song that really means the most to me, I think that was a turning point in my career. Not my biggest song at all, funnily enough.
Way with your whole two hands, you gave me everything I needed every single time. So I say, hey, even in hard times, you are the hope that I believe in, you're my peace of mind. In your own way, with your whole two hands, you gave me.
I think it's funny because if you look back at it, again, maybe it was a little bit of a forward-thinking look because I was living in London. I found this guy that I thought had an amazing voice, saw him in a bar, and he was like an open mic night or something. Yeah. It's like incredible voice, and I need him on a song. Fast forward 5 years later, that guy is JP Cooper.
Yeah.
So no one had heard of him, and amazing guy.
He was one of my guests as well, and he told me the story how he was just in a bar always singing.
JP is such a humble, amazing person, and so I felt like I want to do a song. When my dad passed, I want to do something that comes from the inside and is meaningful and is something that we can play at my dad's funeral. That's what it was intended for.
Yeah,
something that is an ode to my father and takes you on a journey through what fathers mean to you as a son, as a daughter. And I just wrote all the music, and he completely got where I came from. He just became a dad at that time. So yeah, we ended up making this song, and it just became such a turning point in my career because before I was Don Diablo. Like the guy was like...
Yeah, bangers.
Yeah, bangers. Also
Yeah.
that. Also maybe like a cardboard figure. Like people didn't really know much about my private life because I never really liked doing interviews, and that was the first time that I exposed myself, and I was talking about it. I played that song, and somehow it became it became the theme song for Stand Up Against Cancer.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt that was the biggest ode that I could give my father.
Yeah.
A song that the whole nation would, stand up for and feel the emotion. And my dad would be, his death would kind of inspire people.
Yeah.
And so that song really, I don't know, just after that, I think I wanted to count it, but it was, I think, around 2,500 to 3,000 letters from people that just sent me stories about how they were in the same situation, or even like stories about I haven't spoken to my dad in 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know what to say. All I did was send him that song.
And with these 5 tracks is also full circle, starting out with Captain Beefheart and then going to this very special track.
I think, yeah, at the end of the day, we all whether you're a carpenter, an aspiring DJ, a radio host, TV host, a baker, there's only one thing you want to do. It's make your parents proud.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that life evolves around, and the rest isn't important.
Thank you so much for your great stories and your 5 essential tracks.
Welcome. Hey guys, what's up? So I hope you enjoyed this interview. If you want to hear more interviews from other amazing artists, so just subscribe right there and have fun. See you guys soon.